The humble lifestyle of Pope Francis. Pope Francis, born Jorge Mario Bergoglio in Buenos Aires, Argentina, on December 17, 1936, is known not just for being the 266th Pope of the Roman Catholic Church, but for redefining what it means to live a papal life. His lifestyle is a striking contrast to the opulence often associated with the Vatican. Rooted in humility, service, and simplicity, Pope Francis' daily life reflects the values he preaches: love, compassion, and care for the marginalized. Simplicity over luxury. When Pope Francis was elected in March 2013, he immediately set the tone for his papacy by rejecting many traditional trappings of the role. Unlike his predecessors, who resided in the lavish Apostolic Palace, Pope Francis chose to live in a modest suite at the Vatican's Casa Santa Marta, a guesthouse within Vatican City. He cited the desire to live a life among people rather than in isolation. His apartment consists of a small bedroom, a living area, and an office. He eats his meals in the communal dining room with other residents and staff. This decision symbolizes his approach to leadership: close to the people, not above them. He also turned down the luxurious papal limousine, opting instead for a modest Ford Focus or a Fiat 500L during international visits. Even when visiting developing countries, he insists on simple cars, reinforcing his message that the church should serve the poor, not mimic the rich. Personal habits and daily routine. Pope Francis is known for his disciplined, almost monastic daily schedule. He rises around 4:30 a.m. and spends the early hours in prayer, meditation, and preparing for Massachusetts. He then celebrates Mass, usually in the chapel at Casa Santa Marta, where Vatican employees and visitors are welcome to attend. His homilies are brief, heartfelt, and often challenge both clergy and lay people to live authentically. After breakfast, his mornings are filled with meetings, correspondence, and papal duties, from addressing global issues to overseeing church reforms. He typically eats simple meals, vegetables, fruit, and lean meats, and drinks little more than water, juice, or coffee. Though Argentine by origin, Pope Francis is not known for indulging in fancy cuisine. Occasionally, he enjoys mate tea, a traditional South American herbal drink, and he has a soft spot for dulce de leche. He takes a brief siesta in the afternoon and resumes work until dinner, often ending his day with prayer or quiet reflection. Despite his age, the Pope maintains a full schedule and avoids idle luxuries like television. In fact, he hasn't watched TV since 1990. Instead, he reads extensively, favoring spiritual texts and literature that deepens his understanding of the human condition. Charity and advocacy. Pope Francis lives out his message of love for the poor through action. He has opened showers and shelters for the homeless within Vatican City and insists that church resources be used to help those most in need. His papal almoner, the person in charge of distributing charity, is often spotted handing out supplies to Rome's homeless, something Francis strongly supports. Under his leadership, the Vatican has responded to humanitarian crises worldwide, from helping refugees to advocating for climate justice. Pope Francis lives minimally not just as a personal choice but as a testimony that the Church must practice what it preaches. Emphasis on dialogue and inclusion. Pope Francis' lifestyle includes being highly accessible and in constant dialogue with people of all faiths and backgrounds. He often holds impromptu meetings, calls people personally to offer comfort, and maintains a tone of humility in public appearances. He has made it a point to travel extensively, from war-torn countries like Iraq to remote places in Africa, to show solidarity with suffering communities. Unlike traditional papal visits, his trips are designed to meet ordinary people rather than just political or religious elites. In his speeches, he champions inclusivity, calling for compassion towards migrants, the LGBTQ+ community, prisoners, and the elderly. His commitment to building bridges is not just a diplomatic stance but a lived principle. Even in his papal attire, Pope Francis favors simpler vestments and eschews the elaborate garments of past popes. Health and personal well-being. Despite being in his late 80s, Pope Francis remains relatively active, although health issues have occasionally slowed him down. He lost part of one lung due to an infection in his youth and deals with sciatica, which causes him pain and difficulty walking. Still, he continues his pastoral duties, travels internationally, and delivers public addresses regularly. He emphasizes moderation in lifestyle, refraining from alcohol and maintaining a balanced diet. His daily routine includes quiet moments of spiritual contemplation, a key source of inner peace and mental clarity. Francis believes in holistic well-being, often reminding followers to care for both body and soul. The Pope of the People. What sets Pope Francis apart is how relatable he is. He is often seen smiling, laughing with children, or comforting the sick and elderly. He insists that leaders, especially within the Church, must not act like royalty but as servants. Even in his most powerful moments, addressing Congress, the UN, or massive World Youth Day crowds, Francis communicates in a soft, sincere, and unassuming manner. His teachings frequently emphasize humility, kindness, and forgiveness. Rather than moralizing, he invites reflection and empathy. He has spoken openly about his own sins and need for God's mercy, reinforcing that he, too, is just a man. Digital presence and modern communication. Though not a user of modern gadgets himself, Pope Francis recognizes the importance of digital communication. The Vatican maintains his active presence on social media platforms like Twitter and Instagram, where his messages reach millions around the world. He uses these platforms to spread spiritual reflections, advocate for peace, and connect with younger audiences. His embrace of modern communication is part of his lifestyle of inclusion, making sure no one feels out of touch with the Church in the digital age. In conclusion, Pope Francis has brought a new tone to the papacy, one marked by humility, authenticity, and simplicity. In a world obsessed with status, wealth, and appearance, he offers a radical alternative, a life of service, rooted in compassion and spiritual integrity. His lifestyle is not just personal preference, it's a powerful expression of his belief that leadership must be grounded in love, not privilege. In living simply, Pope Francis has not diminished the stature of his role, he has elevated it. By walking humbly with God and his people, he has become a beacon of hope in a complex and often divided world.